What's going on, party people? Welcome to episode 17 of But Did You Die with the Jet Sisters. I'm the tallest Jet Sister, Rachel, and that's Angie, the shortest girl in the world.
Yeah, that's true. Hard to be me, but that's what they say about eldest sisters. We're always the small one.
We were gone last week, I think. Sorry. We were busy. I was in Boston. I was working. That all went great.
Tell us what you
And
were
then
doing.
Ange,
No, tell us what you were doing.
well, everyone knows. Everybody knows I was working at the college tour. I was directing an episode in Boston.
You're a TV show director. That's really cool. I tell everyone.
It's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, Boston's cool. We saw the cop slide, if you know what the cop slide is.
I saw you do the cop slide, but I was fully unaware of what that means. What's the target audience for cop slide?
Well, it's a TikTok thing. A cop went down a slide and broke some things because it was a ridiculously made slide, and now it's a landmark. So when you are in Boston and you like Google things to do, the cop slide pops up.
What a world. What a world we live in today.
I tell you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then you had your book tour, like 90 legs of your book tour. Where did you go?
Book tour. Yeah, so this was a driving in the South book tour. I went from home up to North Georgia, did a stop there, and then I went to Tennessee, and then I did a stop there, and then I went back to Georgia and did another stop, and lots of friends along the way. If I can say anything about book tour, it's to plan events in places where your friends are, or relatives you didn't even know you had. Met a cousin of sorts who was like, hi, by the way, I'm kind of related to you. And this is the best. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. It was really exhausting, but very much worth it. And always weird to sign books. And I brought my little bobblehead, which I don't even know where that is now. And it was just great.
Yeah, again, sorry I missed that. Peter was graduating, so I had to go to Auburn right after Boston. But you didn't need me. Everything went well.
I do have more book tour happening, but it's not thus far, not till later in the summer. I've got a date in Puerto Rico, and then I'll probably have some more Florida dates, and then we'll just see what happens. You know, it's all up in the air for now, and I'm tired, so I'm going to take a nap.
Take a break. You deserve it. You need a minute, and then let us know when the dates are, and I'll see if I can make it.
Yeah, that's what we'll do. And speaking of taking a break, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to Europe.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that later. We have a lot. We have a lot happening in this episode, so we're going to go straight to our travel news of the week. Sister, what'd you find?
So check it out, pet lovers. The CDC just announced new restrictions for dogs traveling to the U.S. So what this means is it could be harder for people coming back to the U.S. with their pets, or if you're trying to adopt a pet internationally, which I didn't realize was such a big thing. But apparently they're importing 1 million rescue dogs a year into the U.S. From other places. And I know people who have brought dogs back from trips. Like, they didn't necessarily mean to do it, but they met a dog on the way and brought a pup home. But then there's also people, I know someone whose dad traveled to Mongolia to get 2 rescue dogs. So, I mean, that's an extreme example, but yeah, people do that. And so now the vaccine rules are kind of changing. You can't bring in a dog under 6 months. And then any dog over 6 months has to show proof that they have not been in a country identified with high risk for rabies. So you would have to research that in advance. And if you didn't have that proof, then your dog might get quarantined, which I can't imagine our dogs being quarantined, because them outside the bathroom for 10 minutes with the door shut is traumatic. And then they have to go to like dog therapy. So yeah. So it's definitely something to keep in mind if you are traveling internationally with your pets. There are some new restrictions. Sources say it's a good thing. It's for the health of all animals. Apparently, dogs haven't had rabies really in the U.S. That's been eradicated for like 30, 40, 50 years or something due to the vaccines. But all that said, maybe it's getting a little dicey, so they're trying to tighten up on that. So if you're traveling with your pets, which The two of us, we haven't really done that. I am so uncomfortable flying with my boy that I haven't even tried.
No, I would have liked to take our dogs when we did the Cotswold walk. But I don't think I can. I'm too scared. That's risky. Uh no, it's a no.
I just feel like
I'll never do it.
there's so many risks. And so much could go wrong. And I don't know, anything with dog related, I go through in my mind all the horrible things that could happen. Like, what if my dog got loose in the forest in another country? And then what? Do I live in that country now? Because I'm never going home without my boy.
Yeah, that's 100% is how I would handle that. Someone's outside.
Excuse me.
Hey, shut up. Another thing, I can't trust my dogs around people. Shut up. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, if you're a person who travels with your pets, look into that. If you are not going to do that, like us, all good.
Yeah, but think about it, like I think about people who are maybe in the military, and so they are going to be going to a new station and they come back, or I mean, or you're traveling around the world and you meet a little pupperino. What am I saying? You meet a little pupperino on the way, and you bring them home. Like, I've known tons of people who've done that. So
I would bring this dog home.
special guest. Speaking of bad dogs that you should not bring home, that one. We're looking at Nora for the audio listeners who don't have video access right now. We're looking at Rachel's bad dog. Her name is Nora, and she's a bad dog.
She's not even the one that's barking right now.
No, that's true.
You can hear Sheba barking in the background. Can you say hello to the listeners?
Hi, Nora. Nora loves to watch TV and snuggle and lick your nose so far up your nose holes that it gets your brain.
Yep. All right, let's say goodbye to that special guest and get into our topic of the week. Hey, we told you we would have a special guest, and did we deliver or what? Hello to our disaster correspondent and best friend, Jessi, to the podcast.
It's Jessi.
Hello, hello.
We talk about Jessi all the time, do we not?
We do, and we promised. We said we'll bring her here for Spain so she can say some things. You all may remember I was supposed to go to Spain with Jessi, and then all the house drama happened. So instead of telling you my story, because I don't have one, we're gonna let Jessi talk about Spain. Jessi, welcome to the podcast.
Hi, long-time listener, first-time caller. Excited to be here. But for real, I'm excited.
All right, let me ask you the first question. Everyone's dying to know. What made you choose Spain?
Well, I speak Spanish because I lived in Peru for a bit. So I've gone to South America a lot, but wanted to mix it up, do something where I feel comfortable because I know the language. So I looked into, I've always wanted to go to Spain, and then Madrid was an easy direct flight, no layovers. So that honestly, I don't like layovers that much internationally. So I could just hop on the plane and be there in 10-ish hours. So that was a big factor of it. And then just reading, like everyone said, Madrid is so safe and beautiful and the food's great. And that was all true. So I knew I might be solo for a bit on the trip. So I wanted to choose somewhere where I wouldn't be scared by myself. So yeah, it was kind of an easy choice. I was between Barcelona or Madrid and knew that I wanted to take a little side quest to Valencia, and it was pretty easy to get there. So yeah, it was a good choice, and turning 30, so that's why it was the big reason to go celebrate my 30th.
Listeners, we talk about Nick a lot, who is Jessi's husband, and he's the guy with the flights. So a lot of Jessi's travel, and I'll lump myself into this too. A lot of our travel is focused on where can we go direct, so we can actually do it.
Yeah.
So
well, and Jessi, I don't know if everybody knows that you live in Dallas area.
Yeah.
So your airport is great. You can get anywhere from DFW. Let's talk about Spain culture and what you did in Spain. Like what were the highlights to you of the things you did?
I feel like Spain culture is my culture. Like I loved it. It's so like easy breezy, no big deal, like nothing, no drama. So the way we did it, just because it was kind of a no stress trip for me. I know some people would want to have a full itinerary, but the way that I did it was, got up in the morning, slept in as much as we wanted, got up in the morning, did some sort of morning activity, whether that was a tour or going to see a park or a museum or something. Got some tapas, some little snacks. It's a lot of like snacking, that culture. It's a very snacky culture, not a lot of huge meals. If you are going to have a big meal, it's at lunchtime usually, around 1 or 2. I did that and then came back and took our little siesta, which is what everyone else is doing too. So we did that, and then we wake up at around like.
That is so your life. Every
I
day
know.
that I hang out with you,
Yeah,
if you don't have a nap, you're cranky. You're like a baby.
I have to be horizontal for at least an hour during the day, and so that was perfect.
He's a Spanish baby.
That's right. And
He has a very specific nap time.
Exactly. No, it's true. What is it? Like 1 here, we're getting there. We're getting to nap time. But yeah, so then wake up, don't let yourself jet lag. You can sleep into the night. You got to be disciplined. Get up. We got up around like 5:36 and did the nighttime stuff. And nighttime is when Madrid like comes to life. That's when during the day everyone's chill, it's whatever. But at night, it's a lot of, drinking wine, sangria, whatever you want to have, eating tapas, playing games, seeing things like I would say everything is shifted back like 2 hours. So if you normally eat dinner at 6, you're going to eat at 8 or 8:30. And that's kind of an early dinner in Spain. You're probably not going to be back at your hotel room until noon or 1, but that's fine. Like that sounds like you're getting back in the middle of the night, but that's really not. Like that's like getting back at 10, like in America. I feel like everything's kind of, which helps with the jet lag, it's not as, with that shift that helps. So it's just an easy breezy culture. Everyone was so nice. Like I chose it because I wasn't going to be nervous about the language, but I didn't need to be. Everyone in Madrid spoke English. Like they appreciated that I tried, I would start in Spanish, but they heard my accent and could tell and we're fine with English. It wasn't like you tourist, kind of thing. So everyone was just so kind, and it's a great culture. It's awesome.
That's a very different experience that we had in Paris when you and I went, Jessi.
Yeah.
And like, they didn't care at all if you tried or not. They would not even give you the time of day. And you lived in Paris for 45 minutes?
For 6 weeks. I definitely, I was there like perfecting my French actually. And that wasn't happening because you start and they're like, no, ice cream for the American, right. And it wasn't rude necessarily. It's just, they're like, please don't waste my time with your practice French. Let's just get on with
it. In Spain, like there was a couple times where I'd like start in Spanish and then, get nervous or feel like maybe they didn't understand. They're like, no, keep going, like practice. That's good. Like they're so sweet. Everyone was so nice.
I like that. That's very nice.
I know you stay at Airbnbs a lot.
Yeah, I love.
And did you do that this time? Yeah.
So we did both. So checked in to an Airbnb when we got there. I don't think where we stayed was a mistake. Like I left a great review. Everything was great. It was like if we went to New York and stayed in Times Square. Like we somehow chose, like I thought like all the reviews were like great in the middle of everything. I realized quickly that's maybe a negative for me. It was just so like the moment we walked out of our Airbnb, it was just like we were in Times Square. Like it was just, we stayed right off Plaza Mayor, which means like the main plaza in town. I was like, that's great. It'll be great. We were on it, like right there, and tours would go by. Like apparently our building was a part of a tour. So it was just, there were people out, which for some people they would like that. They want to be in the hustle and bustle of the city, but everything about the Airbnb was wonderful. Like the host was great. It was clean. The apartment was beautiful. The view was beautiful, but you just have to know, like, just because it says it's like a great location, it is technically a great location and some people love it. But for us, it was a little, that kind of sounded negative. It was awesome. Just, I didn't know that city center is legit. Like I'm in Times Square. Like it's crazy.
So here's a question. Knowing what you know, if you were going to go back to Madrid, is there a different neighborhood that you would have preferred to stay in now that you've seen it all?
Yeah. So luckily we stayed there and then we left and went to Valencia and then we came back and had, mine got extended, but a couple more nights. So we did get to bounce around in other neighborhoods and definitely would have stayed. There's a plaza. I feel like Spain is kind of different neighborhoods are centered around their plazas, so like kind of like town square situations. And so there's one called Plaza Santa Ana, which was just, it was like you're in a movie. It just, we sat out on the courtyard and played cards and drank sangria, which I say sangria, actually there they like Tinto de Verano, which means summer wine, but it's like a wine cooler they make. So during the day you drink Tinto and you're chill, you have like a nice vibe, and then at night you switch to sangria because that has liquor in it. So just to let you know, if you go,
I'm so
That
mad
makes
at
me want to have a picnic.
I know.
yeah, yeah. So Plaza Santa Ana, anything around there is just delightful. We literally would be like, we need to go explore new places, and we always ended up back there. We'd go to the new place for like, oh, this is cool, we saw it, and like, you want to go to Santa Ana? I'm like, yeah, I do want to go to Santa Ana. So, just lovely. I mean, that's the best. That's the neighborhood I absolutely would have chosen. Actually, we planned to stay in just like a cheapy airport hotel because we had to be up so early for our flight the next morning, and we were like, we're gonna cancel that hotel and have a night in Santa Ana. So we rebooked just to have like one night in the neighborhood that we loved so much. So
That's nice. And that was all in Madrid, right?
yeah, all this is walkable. So like it sounds like different neighborhoods, but really like it's 5 blocks down. So none of them are that different from each other. It was just something about the vibe of that plaza was just so nice. So that's definitely my favorite neighborhood.
And then you trained over to Valencia
Yeah,
and stayed at an Airbnb there.
did, yes. So Valencia, I thought like, okay, I'm going to Madrid, big city. I live in Texas. We don't get the beach. So I was like, I want to go to like a coastal beachy town. So I just looked up like big beachy towns in Spain, and Valencia was always number one. It's the third biggest city in Spain. So I chose that. I should have thought more about it being the third biggest city. It was like a little coastal Madrid. Like it was very much like, it felt more like people live their lives there, and Madrid is like not almost like the New York of like, it's very like hub business and travelers and all that. Valencia felt more homey. Less people spoke English. You know, people used to go do their jobs, but so it felt a little more quaint than Madrid. But it definitely was just like a smaller version. It wasn't that different, and the beach wasn't like a lay on the beach all day beachy. It was more like little markets and volleyball nets and stuff to like do activities on the beach. And I'm not an activities girl. I'm a lay down girl. So I had a great time in Valencia. Like I would absolutely go back. But when I got there, I was like, oh, this is not what I expected. Because you go on Pinterest and see the pictures, and I thought it was like this coastal thing, and it's not as much, but it was still awesome. Like no regrets. I loved it. Paella was invented there, so we did like a paella making class, and that was so fun. Like a bunch of couples there, and the hosts were awesome, and we were there all day. Like they took us to the market to pick out our vegetables and meats for the paella, and then we went back and they did a sangria making class while the paella was cooking. We got to help make the paella. Like such a fun day.
That's nice.
So let me ask, was this an Airbnb experience that you did?
So I looked through Airbnb experiences, and there were some good ones, but this was through Get Your Guide. They have a lot of tours, and they were awesome, and all of them were great. I did quite a few, and I left all 5 stars. They were all really great. So highly recommend. They have a really easy to use app, like easy peasy. So yeah.
What was your favorite tour you did?
So in Madrid, we did a tapas tour, which I ate tapas every 5 minutes while I
A
was there.
topless tour.
Well, topless. That's what my mom said. She's like, "You're doing a topless tour?" I was like, "No, Mom, a tapas tour." And that was great to like get the history of the different neighborhoods and like what tapas are traditional to what areas. So that was really fun. I still think the paella class was just so like in depth about their culture and like how important paella is to them, and going to the market and seeing like you're shopping with people that are getting their groceries for their house. Like it doesn't feel touristy. It felt like this is, I mean, we looked like a tour group going through. Obviously we're tourists, but it was just cool to see like this is a dish that they make every Sunday with their family, and they swim by the pool and eat paella. In Valencia is known for their oranges, and so we also went to like an orange orchard and picked oranges, and so that was like very cute and fun, and just to learn about like the economy of how oranges help their economy, which was cool. So these were all through Get Your Guide, and I liked them all, but the paella class was awesome.
Can I say that for a lay on the ground and take a nap kind of girl, you did a lot of tours? That's very impressive.
But I took naps after, let me tell you. where I plan them around my naps. So
Yeah, Spain is sounding better and better, like
Oh,
eating and napping. Hello.
it's amazing. Every town I go to, I'm like, I could live here. I want to live here. I absolutely could live in Madrid. Like, I would be just fine. So, yeah, it's awesome. I really don't
Amazing.
have anything negative. I mean, I did possibly
Oh, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Well, I think you do.
So it wouldn't be the But Did You Die podcast without your disaster. And oh boy, do you have a disaster. Tell us what you did.
Yeah.
Tell us your
So,
disaster correspondent, Jessi.
yeah, I planned Valencia around my 30th birthday. I was like, I want to be in Valencia making paella on my 30th. So we booked a train for the day before my birthday, and we're going to head to Valencia. So I get to the train station and realize I don't have to show my ID. Like, I am a passenger. That's how that works. Went, and just the panic set in that my passport was not in the pocket where my passport normally is. And I'm in the middle of the train station, just like throwing clothes, looking through things, like trying to find it, and have realized that it indeed is not in my bag. Luckily, I was able to use my driver's license to get on the train, so that was fine. My mother is very mad that I didn't turn around and go directly to the embassy and that I even got on the train. But I was like, it's my birthday tomorrow. I'm getting on this train. I'll figure it out. So yeah, so lost my passport. I can't confidently say if it was lost or stolen. I am Jessi and lose everything, so I'm not going to put it past me that I dropped it in a storm drain. I don't know.
You remember when you lost your credit card on the plane to Paris?
Yeah, you had to pay for me a lot.
Yeah.
Also, this is my second version of this passport. I lost it because I left it in the back of a plane too. So, it's fine. It happens to me often.
Okay, so what did you do?
So
because it takes months to get passports. So if you're traveling abroad and you lose your passport, Jessi, tell us, how do you get home?
Then what?
So I'll say every country is different, but it's also going to be pretty similar because you're going to have to deal with the American embassy in wherever you're at. Luckily, I was in Madrid, which is a major city in Spain, so there was an embassy there. If I had been in Valencia and for some reason was going off to another country from Valencia, I would have had to come back to Madrid to go to that embassy. So I was lucky that I was already planning on coming back to Madrid. So, obviously every country is different. Google what you're supposed to do, but I would bet my bottom dollar you got to go to the embassy. So I filled out the application online to get a new passport, which is the exact same application if you're renewing it, if you lost it at home. It's like I had just done it for my lost passport at home, so it was familiar. It wasn't like a special Spain, I had to figure out Spanish form. It was the normal American form. When you fill out that form,
all of your information was just there.
Yeah, we know.
We've been waiting for you. We heard you were coming to Spain. We filled it out in advance.
Exactly. So if you know for a fact that it was stolen, like you got robbed, it was in this pocket and it's not anymore, you can file a police report online that you lost it, and that will cancel it out. Like no one can go to the airport and use your passport. So if you are certain that it's stolen, do that. Make the police report. Find a police, you can Google the best way to do that. In Madrid, I could do it online. Sometimes you're going to have to go find a police station or something. Do that. I wasn't certain. I didn't want to get anyone in trouble, my Airbnb host or whoever. I didn't say I didn't know. I was going to be honest. So I had a moral dilemma of, do I have my birthday in Valencia and figure it out when I get back? Or is this an emergency and I need to go back to Madrid now? I was told by everyone to leave and go straight to Madrid. And I said, nah. I am lucky though. If my flight had been, I have to leave on this day, like a normal person, I probably would have gone back. I am lucky and have very flexible flights. So I thought to myself, it's already Thursday. I would go Friday. It wouldn't be ready till the next day. Like I'm going to have to delay my trip no matter what, even if I leave at this exact moment. So I said, I'm going to have a great time in Valencia and figure this out. Not everyone would take that approach. I took that approach. So yeah, I got back. I left Valencia as planned. We already had train. It would have been a whole ordeal to change it up. So had my birthday, had fun time, did my paella, which I loved. So I'm glad I did. Got back to Madrid Sunday night. They're not open on the weekends. And online I read that you have from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. to get to the embassy to start your it's called an emergency passport application. You're traveling within a week. It's an emergency. You have to get home. And yeah, I showed up at I was going to be there right when the doors opened at 8. I slept in a little. So I got there at 9 probably. And it was pretty sure it's the American Embassy. They speak English. They're there. Their whole reason to be there is to help Americans get home. They're not trying to sabotage you. My mom was just freaking out. She's like, it's going to be so difficult. And it really wasn't. They're there to help you. So I waited for my number. It took about 30 minutes to get called. Turned in my application. They asked me some questions of how I think I lost it, all that kind of stuff. And then they handed me my paperwork back and said, be here tomorrow at 8, between 8 and 11, you'll get to pick it up. So it was a 24-hour turnaround. The catch is that it is not a passport you can use forever. A lot of countries don't accept emergency passports. So if I had been going other places in Europe, probably wouldn't have been able to go with this emergency passport. And it's only good for a year. So I am going to probably next week just go ahead. I could use it for a year. A lot of countries don't take it. It's purple and gold. It doesn't look real. And so, yeah.
How much did it cost?
It's an emergency passport. It's not forever.
Did you have to pay for it?
Yeah, it was $170. So
That's fine.
Pay that.
It's fine.
I mean, listen, considering how bad that could have been.
It could have been bad. Yeah.
You really were right place, right time, right schedule.
It all worked out.
That was all real good.
I understand anyone else being stressed out of their mind. The people there were not having a good day. I completely, you have flights that are unrebookable. You have maybe other countries you're going to. I completely understand this being a disaster for someone. I luckily booked a couple more days, had some solo time. I had my laptop in case of emergency, so I worked from Spain the last 3 days, which was totally fine.
See, this is why you always have to bring your laptop. You could get stuck.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that harrowing tale of European disaster with us. I've never lost a passport, but I have been pickpocketed. And Rachel has been pickpocketed. So now all 3 of us have.
We all have.
I have?
Yeah, your phone, bro, with my wedding footage.
In Orlando.
Hey, call it what you want. Pickpocketing is pickpocketing.
Yeah.
Orlando is a tourist hub. I would call it pickpocketing.
Yeah. I would call it the Madrid of Florida.
Yes, that's what they call it. That's what I heard.
I've heard that. Yes.
Yeah,
all right. Thank you, Jessi. I'm sure we'll have you back for your next disaster/trip.
I'm going to Austria in a few weeks. I'll lose my passport there and let you know how it goes.
Are you allowed to lose your passport only a certain amount of times where they're no, forget it?
All right. Thank you, Jessi. Yes. Until next time.
Goodbye.
Thanks,
Good
Jessi.
luck. How about that for our first guest? Also want to mention this is the 3rd time Jessi has lost her passport abroad. So thanks, Jessi.
Instead of disaster correspondent, maybe we call her passport loss specialist or something.
Loss prevention. How do you go on a trip and you say, oh, I lost it, I'll figure it out later? I love it. Jessi is my favorite person in the world. I
mean, that whole chill culture kind of does. Maybe she should go to Spain, more long term. I don't know.
I mean, if she loses her passport again,
it will be very long term. Yeah.
Excellent. All right. What are we doing this week?
I can't believe it.
I'm wearing my outfit. Oh, you've got yours.
I can't believe where we're going this week.
We are going to Taylor Swift. We are going to Sweden. We are spending an entire week in Sweden. We are going on a real vacation to see Taylor Swift. This is what I'm wearing.
This is probably not what I'm wearing, but
you do look like Michael Jackson.
It's one of my, 75 options I've bought off Amazon this week.
Amazing. So yeah, we'll have lots of tales when we return about Sweden and what we did, what we saw, and Taylor Swift. I don't even know what to do with this one. Lovely. Hey, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Listen,
this is
no.
it.
No, this isn't it.
This is it.
This isn't it. We haven't told everybody what we're doing in Sweden.
I just did.
We're doing more than going to see the Taylor Swift concert.
Okay.
We're going to the ABBA Museum. We're going to the I don't know, there's a shipwreck museum. There's a whole bunch of bridges. We're going to take a bus around. I have a hotel.
Great.
It's cold.
Yeah. It's cold. We'll have stories when we return. Hopefully, no lost passports. I have a good feeling about us. All right, before we go, unhinged sign-offs. Go.
Take it now or leave it. Now is all we get. Nothing promised, no regrets. ABBA.
There, I was like, that's
Voulez-vous, take it now or leave it. Right? Appropriate.
yes. I was like, that's familiar, and I don't remember. Okay, here's mine. We'll be back next week with Tailorific Tales. We'll see you then. Okay, but for real, goodbye, everyone. We love you.